Ladies and gentlemen, thank you as always for tuning into the channel. I wanted to bring you guys an update on this whole Crypto.com debacle. We have a lot of good news, so that is always great to hear. And just to show you guys how great of news we have for you guys today, of course, I'm rocking the ultimate Crypto.com merch with the UFC and Viper. But aside from that, I wanted to go over with you guys some news that we got over the past about 12 hours or so. Crypto.com did do a AMA with the CEO and CMO of the company. Chris, the CEO, came out and answered pretty much all of our questions. So I have a little bit of a list of everything that was discussed in that 45-minute AMA. And hopefully this can give everyone some clarity when it comes to, should you continue using Crypto.com or should you move your funds elsewhere? Should you be concerned for the future of Crypto.com? And all of that sort of stuff. So diving right in, Chris first talked about regulation and compliance, and how Crypto.com is officially the most regulated and licensed exchange in the world now. They have the largest access legally in the world when it comes to countries allowing them to offer their products to their citizens. And also they went into detail on how Crypto.com is drastically different from FTX, because of course, as we know, this whole debacle with Crypto.com, all this FUD occurred from a couple days ago when FTX went bankrupt and they essentially collapsed. So Chris went on to discuss how Crypto.com's infrastructure and the products that they offer are really not based around traders. Yes, they do have Crypto.com Exchange, but that resembles about 5% of their user base and revenue as well. So yes, they obviously have their exchange, but the majority of their clientele is from the mobile app, the 70 million users that have downloaded the app. So that is the first notable difference, is that Crypto.com is not a trading platform. They do not hedge funds, and they do not have derivatives trading. So those were the main differences between them and FTX that people wanted clarity on. And that's really the true main, not the official reason, as of now we don't really know the official reason as to why FTX had its massive fallout, but the understanding is that FTX pretty much lent out funds to hedge fund companies, and these companies of course made bad investments, bad judgment, and they lost out on users' funds. So Crypto.com wanted to clarify that they do not do that with their users' funds. They do not lend them out. They do not trade them. They do not hedge them or anything like that. They don't do anything with users' funds except let them sit on the platform. So those are the main differences between FTX and Crypto.com. Nextly, Chris wanted to let everyone know that with Crypto.com specifically, although we have had our fair share of FUD over the past 48 hours, business is as usual. They are not having any issues with their platform. Withdrawals and deposits are processing as usual, and there is zero reason to be concerned. He went on to say that the audit that they were discussing will be coming within the month. He went on to explain that auditing the platform takes a lot of time. It's not like with traditional crypto-related companies. The audit is happening with a third party. This audit will pretty much show that the proof of reserves that they have is showing that they the assets on the platform. So proof of reserves equals assets on the platform, pretty much guaranteeing us for sure that Crypto.com is telling the complete truth when it comes to the cryptocurrencies that they have on the platform, that it is backed up to the users on the platform. And they will also be discussing and sharing their liabilities as well, because that was a big concern. As we know, Crypto.com has lots and lots of partnerships out there, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of partnerships. So people are curious to know, what are your liabilities based on comparative to your revenue? So they will be sharing that information as well. And we will be getting into also some numbers here shortly, explaining how they're able to maintain all of these massive partnerships all around the world that they currently have in a bear market. Next, they went on to discuss how Crypto.com, they are a massive supporter of non-custodial products. As we know, Crypto.com does have their DeFi wallet, and their DeFi wallet has over 5 million users as of right now. And you can connect the DeFi wallet directly with your Crypto.com custodial app. So you can connect your DeFi wallet on your phone to your Crypto.com custodial wallet. So if you are still concerned about keeping your funds on the exchange, they encourage you to use their DeFi wallet, and that again is non-custodial, so you are the only one with access to those funds with a private key. So there's literally zero reason to be concerned when it comes to who controls your cryptocurrencies. I want to emphasize that they really encourage anyone and everyone. If you want to use Crypto.com's DeFi wallet, you're more than welcome to do so, and of course you can get that in the App Store. Next, they went on to discuss how they make money. People want to know, how the heck does Crypto.com make money? Because as we know with FTX, they were doing a lot of sketchy stuff behind the scenes that they were not supposed to be doing. They were trading users' funds, and that's how they lost $10 billion worth of users' funds. Crypto.com makes money simply through fees, period. They do not trade your assets. They do not move them around for their benefit or anything like that. They simply make the money for the revenue from the platform based on fees. 95% of the revenue is from fees, and then the other 5%, and the fees is through trading, swapping, and that sort of stuff. And then those fees also include Crypto.com's exchange. The other 5% of the fees, the revenue that they're pulling in is from merchants. So as you know, with Crypto.com Pay, you can pay for products and services with your cryptocurrency. So they take a fee from merchants for transacting that process as well. So that is how they make money. There is no other way. And that's that. Next, they went on to discuss, a lot of people were concerned when it came to when they showed their proof of reserves. 20% of their proof of reserves was in Shiba Inu coin. So a lot of people were saying, oh my God, Crypto.com has 20% of their reserves in Shiba Inu. How on earth could I trust a company that has so much money invested in a meme coin? Well, the proof of reserves is showing users' holdings. It's showing what users on the platform are invested in. Shiba Inu, Crypto.com is not personally investing in. That's just showing how many people on the platform are holding Shiba token. So that is that, period. No, Crypto.com is not holding Shiba themselves. Next, withdrawals, again, are working as normal, and Chris wanted to emphasize that withdrawals are working and will always be working, and he strongly believes this is a fundamentals, the bare bones fundamentals of what Crypto.com stands for, and they will always be working on the platform. Next, Crypto.com is in zero financial trouble. They have a very strong balance sheet, and again, we will be seeing that with proof when the audit does come out within the month. They will be showing their assets and liabilities, and we will have definitive proof that everything is good behind the scenes. They did also want to emphasize that they have zero exposure to the whole Luna debacle when Luna and Terra collapsed. None of those assets were listed on the platform, and they did not have any exposure to them off of the platform. When it comes to FTX, did Crypto.com have any exposure to FTX? A lot of people were saying Crypto.com had $1 billion on FTX, and that is false. Over the course of the past year, Crypto.com has transacted roughly $1 billion on FTX, but at the time of the collapse for FTX, Crypto.com had slightly under $10 million worth of assets on FTX, which of course is easily going to be covered with their insurance policy of up to $900 million. So the $10 million is a little drop in the bucket, and that is the most that they lost. They did want to emphasize that, of course, they were not the only exchange to have funds frozen on FTX. Coinbase also did have around $15 million frozen on FTX as well. So we do have to remember FTX was a massive web. So when they collapsed, it wasn't just FTX, but a large chunk of FTX investments also had a downfall with that whole debacle. So next up, how does Crypto.com afford sponsorship deals? So Chris went on to explain that all of their sponsorship deals with these companies, whether it's UFC, Crypto.com. So next up, how does Crypto.com offer? So next they discussed how Crypto.com is able to afford all of these sponsorship deals, because as we know, Crypto.com has a lot of big sponsorship deals. We have the UFC, of course, we have Crypto.com Arena, we have the FIFA World Cup, we have F1 racing, we have a lot of money in sponsorships. So Chris went on to explain that most of the time when you see these big headlines of these sponsorship deals, they're showing what the total amount is over the course of X amount of period. So for example, with the UFC deal, that is over the course of 10 years at $100 million. So they're going to be giving roughly $10 million per year to the UFC to be a sponsor. $10 million when it comes to Crypto.com's revenue is a drop in the bucket. Over the course of 2020 and 2021, Crypto.com raked in over $1 billion each year in revenue. So that he went on to explain that their marketing budget is roughly 10% of their revenue stream, which is quite low comparative to other cryptocurrency companies out there that spend a lot more. So that was just one example. Of course, we have Crypto.com Arena, which from my memory, I believe was $700 million, and that is over the course of 20 years. So you can expect them to pay roughly $35 million per year over the course of 20 years. It's not one massive lump sum at once. So he did want to emphasize that sometimes these articles can be misleading. When you see the big dollar signs, it's not all being paid at one time, but over the course of time. So as of now, again, roughly 10% of their revenue is going to marketing, and that is very sustainable, even when we are in a bear market like we are right now. So the next question was talking about what Chris sees over the next 5 years in the crypto space. Chris said he is very optimistic for the entire future of cryptocurrencies, and although in the short term it will take time for trust to rebuild, he said it is best to eliminate bad actors as soon as we can. So it is unfortunate where we currently are, but in the end, FTX was inevitably going to collapse, and it is best, honestly, that we had FTX collapse in a bear market, because if FTX collapsed when we were in the middle of a bull run, that could have been so bad for way more many people and so much more money in the space. So it is honestly, unfortunately, best that they collapsed when they did. Now, when it comes to the whole FUD, about Crypto.com over the past 48 hours. We know that the majority of the FUD was about this $400 million transfer that was transferred to Gate.io. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about 2 weeks ago, Crypto.com accidentally sent $400 million to Gate.io in Ethereum when they were supposed to send it to their own cold storage wallet. He went on to explain how this occurred, and honestly, it's so much less of a big deal than it really should have been, especially when he explained it the way he did. So he went on to say that all exchange addresses that they have, that they use, are whitelisted and pre-approved. So there's no possible way for these funds to get sent to some random address that they don't have access to. The address that they sent the funds to was a Gate.io corporate account for Crypto.com. So Crypto.com had instant access to these funds when they were sent to Gate.io. The reason Crypto.com did not send these funds back to themselves right away is because their daily limit was under $400 million. So they reached out to Gate.io and asked if they could have their daily limit increased, which of course Gate.io said yes, and then over the course of a couple days after, they withdrew the total amount. So that is why it took a couple days to withdraw the total amount, but they had access to the funds the entire time with their corporate account with Gate.io, and there was zero issues when it came to withdrawing or anything like that. So technically, the funds were never at risk of being sent anywhere else. They were sent to a Crypto.com corporate account with Gate.io. So I hope that gives you guys a little bit of clarity on the whole FUD over the past 48 hours. Lastly, Chris wanted to get us excited because I feel like not a lot of people know about this, but the FIFA World Cup is coming up, and Crypto.com is one of the main sponsors for the FIFA World Cup. And if you guys aren't aware, over 5 billion people watch the FIFA World Cup. That's 10 billion eyeballs, if you assume everyone has 2 eyes, which I'm sure some people watching that don't, or maybe they're blind. But aside from that, that is a lot of eyeballs and a lot of exposure for Crypto.com, because also Crypto.com is the only cryptocurrency sponsor for FIFA. So there's a lot to look forward to over the next couple of weeks with that, and considering the CRO token itself, I don't want to get speculative or anything, but we are at a very, very low point in terms of price. So it will be interesting to see how things turn out with the FIFA World Cup and all the exposure that Crypto.com is going to get from that. And that's that, guys. So let me know your thoughts down below on all of this with Crypto.com. I personally have zero reason to be concerned. If anything, I feel so much better. Not that I was that concerned yesterday, but it is great to hear from Chris himself that everything is okay. He answered all of our questions straight up. He didn't beat around the bush like a lot of these companies like to do. He's not hiding anything, he's giving it to us how it is, the facts. And of course, he went on to emphasize that for future years to come, he wants to make sure that transparency is number one. There's no reason to hide anything. He went on to say that he would love if there could be some legal some laws put in place where crypto exchanges are legally required to have proof of reserves all the time. That way, something like this with FTX never happens again. And I think that is an amazing idea. And I honestly can't I can't be more excited for the future of Crypto.com over the coming years. So let me know your guys' thoughts down below. I hope this video gave you guys some clarity on the whole situation. And as always, I will catch you in the next.